I'm sitting here thinking about how I never actually chose happiness because I never really believed it was an option. It's like, because of my childhood, my brain was so conditioned to believe that happiness was unattainable because every time I attempted to achieve it, there were people around that would work diligently to take it away. I had the most interesting conversations with my mom before she passed, and it really helped me understand a lot about my childhood and her motivation for doing, some of the things that she did. And it's kind of weird because it's almost like an overshadowing. It was like she was determined to not have me outshine her in a way. I was like in competition all the time with my mom, with my marriage, even, and especially my kids. Like when my daughter was born, she had to be there this time. She would never be there for the labor or anything. She would always show up after the kids were born. And as soon as my daughter came out, it's like she just practically grabbed her out of my body and had to be the first person to kiss her. So when you're in competition your whole entire life, it's weird because people, when they're trying to stop you, put you in a mode where there always has to be someone better, or to attempt to divert you from a path of happiness. And it's weird because I wouldn't say I was safe, but I did have some portions of happiness when my grandmother was alive. It was when she passed that things really changed. Like my grandmother saw my musical talents. She always took me to plays and kept music around, and I think that's another reason why I like it so much. And she would really push my mom, and my dad would try to push her into letting me do more things because I was so depressed all the time. So my grandmother was the reason why I got to do some of the things I liked, like piano lessons. And I love sports, but she wouldn't let me do that because she needed me to come home and take care of the kids. Like as soon as I was tall enough to reach a stove, I was cooking for everyone, cooking and cleaning. And when I even got old enough, she would work during the day because she always worked two jobs. She would work during the day, go to school in the afternoon, and then go back to work at night. And it was like she would sleep maybe a few hours. And then my dad was just running from the whole situation, so he was never there either. So when you go through so much and then you topple in all of the other little things that happen in your life, you just don't believe that happiness is attainable. For so long, even going into my marriage, you would try to achieve it and something would happen. And so that kind of conditions your brain to just stop looking for it. You feel it's like being in a box your whole life of unhappiness, and knowing all you have to do is like pop that top open and be that. But for some reason, your brain is conditioned to stay trapped inside of that box, almost like my other post about the elephant with the string tied around his leg. Like this big, huge elephant is being contained by a tiny rope because of conditioning that it received when it was young. In these past couple of years, I'm going on 3 years now like this, um, you really have time to unpack it, like to be quiet and alone in your thoughts and think about, wow, I am really just not happy right now. And I would just normally just be unhappy. And I would be like that for a long time. And I guess that's what you would consider depression. But being able to actually unpack it and think about it, you rewire your brain or you create a pathway to that happiness. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets. I know this might be a little controversial, but I just believe that negative emotions and thoughts, I don't believe those were created by God. I believe that they are man-made conditions that manipulate us and that other people around us with ill intent use to manipulate us and label us to suit their purpose. And so, like right now, it's serving my ex's purpose for me to be crazy, to avoid accountability for all the craziness that he's done. I've been labeled depressed, crazy, irrational, all to serve a purpose to slander and to stop my forward progress. So that's what I mean by man created mental or, emotional conditions, so to speak. But here's the thing to learn. When you really actually start to become self-aware, that means having a pulse on how you feel, actually acknowledging how you think, because the world wants to keep you so bogged down and busy and thinking about everything else except yourself. And when you're able to think about yourself, who you are, what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and not just going through the day with this mindless numbness, then you really get to the bottom of who you are and what you need to change. And that's what changes your outlook on life. That's what causes you to move forward in a positive manner and not be held back by emotions, by people, by trauma, by your childhood, by any negative experience that may impact your ability to move forward. When I was actually able to connect those dots, that I do not have to be unhappy, that was something that I began to practice doing. And I'm not always saying it's easy because I am in a very difficult situation and some things get thrown at me all the time, every single day. Can you imagine that? 3 whole years just wondering what's gonna happen today, you know? But if you really stay focused, it really makes you strong mentally, gives you a lot of stamina and resilience. But sit and think about that for a minute. The next time you're sad, like I may be, I get on here and I'm pretty happy. And that's my baseline is to be happy. And when I'm sad, I allow myself to be sad. I allow myself to cry. I allow myself to feel the feelings. But I know that I'm working those things out from a baseline of knowing that the bottom line is I'm happy and that what I'm going through is temporary and that it will pass, even if it's a day or two, and not allow myself to stay in a state of unhappiness because I did that a lot as a punishment as well because I thought I deserved it. So many thoughts. But I love you, and I hope you're having a good evening.